Are you struggling to improve your putting game despite following the best advice and tips? Well, you'll want to watch this video because today we're going to bust 4 of the biggest putting myths that are actually advice everyone gives, but they actually harm your chances of making more putts. You'll want to stick around because the last 2 of these myths we're going to talk about will really surprise you. But by the end of this video, you'll have everything you need to make more putts and be sinking them all. Let's get to it. So the first myth is the concept that you need to have your eyes over the ball when you putt. That's a yes and a no. Certainly the way that most of our eyes work, we need our eyes above or very slightly inside the ball to be able to see the line, but there's a problem. Now, let me illustrate that for you right now. I step up to this putt and I've got my eyes over the ball and I'm really cramped in here to be that close, or I have to bend my back an awful lot, which hurts my back. That's not a good thing. Or I have to stand up really straight, or maybe use a putter that's too long for me. That's not a helpful thing. So here's what I suggest, what I've been doing, and it helps a whole lot. I set up into the putt, eyes over the ball, like this, and then I back up slightly so that I'm a little bit inside the ball. What I do when I'm eyes directly above the ball, it helps me see the line, make certain I'm square to my line, and then I back up ever so slightly until I'm comfortable and my hands are immediately beneath my shoulders and I can make a good smooth stroke. I'm not cramped in here. Same thing from a different angle. Take my grip, step into the putt, and I've got my eyes directly above the ball looking to make sure I see my line. Okay, now I'm going to back away just a little bit so that I'm not cramped and I can make a good, smooth stroke. So that's the first myth, eyes over the ball. It's not 100% wrong, but you've got to make a little adjustment to that to be a little bit more inside the ball. If you'll notice, the best putters on the PGA Tour are doing that. They're lining up with their eyes a little bit inside the ball because it frees their body up to not have any tension and to maintain their form and their posture, make a good smooth stroke. So that's myth number 1. Myth number 2 is the idea that you have to have a perfect arc on your putting stroke. There's no such thing as a perfect arc. It depends on how long your putter is, how you stand, whether you bend over the ball more or less, and all kinds of a variety of factors. And no 2 putting strokes are exactly alike, and they don't have to be. There's probably a million different ways to roll the ball up the line and into the hole. So you don't have to panic with that. There's not a perfect stroke. What's important is not that you have an arc or you don't have an arc. You don't even think about an arc. What's important and all that matters is that this putter face is square to the target line when it hits the ball. And so I can set up on this putt, I can take an outside stroke, even this much, and cut across it a little bit. And if that putter face is square to the line, at impact, the ball goes in. You don't believe that? There's on the channel in another video, I talked about does putting arc matter on a video some time back. Did slow motion laboratory photography. They showed a putter coming across 10 degrees. The ball went straight up the line because the face was square. Same putter coming inside out 10 degrees and the ball went straight up the line because the face was square. The putter doesn't, the ball in a putter, it's not like a driver and iron. You're not compressing it. It doesn't dwell or stick on the putter face. Wherever this is pointed at that moment of impact, at that moment of truth, that's where the ball is going. So there are things that are important here with regards to that, and that is in this last 5 inches before impact, you have your putter face square. Now let me illustrate that here. I use a ruler. I went to the hardware store, bought a 36-inch yardstick, cost me $1.49. sawed it off at 14 inches. So I got 9 inches out in front of the ball, 5 inches behind the ball, but we'll just use a piece of plastic here. Important thing is I work on and practice keeping my putter face square in this 5 inches as I approach the ball. If I'm square here and I keep it square through impact, then it's going to be on the line. And I don't have to think about arc and having the perfect arc and all of that. And by the way, if you're thinking about all of that, it's darn near impossible to focus on the important thing, which is your target, where you want to roll the ball so it goes into the hole. Now, the third myth is going to frustrate some of you, but it's the myth of feeling the putter head release. Hear me out. 50 years of golf instruction, nobody ever taught, oh, you've got to release the putter head and feel the putter head release, until one day the Golf Channel is doing a little story on Tiger Woods and his putting, and he talks about feeling the putter very loose in his hands, and when he comes through the ball, feeling the putter head release. And everybody misinterpreted that. Now they have this concept of after impact, I have to release the putter head like this, and your wrists break down, and that is not conducive to a good putting stroke. Let me give you a couple of facts you probably don't know that will help you understand what Tiger Woods was talking about. First off, Tiger Woods putted with the toe of his Scotty Cameron up about, maybe 1/8 of an inch or so off the ground in the air. Scotty Cameron himself, who designs those putters, knows a little bit about how these things work, says if you putt with the toe of your putter in the air, then you're aligned off to the right 1 to 3 degrees, which means anything over 5 feet you're going to miss unless you do something in your stroke to compensate that, to close that open putter face. Well, Tiger Woods was putting toe up, so he was a little bit open. He wanted to feel the putter head release. He wanted to feel it close a little bit. Here's the thing you got to remember. Tiger Woods practiced putting 2 hours a day, 6 or 7 days a week for 30 years, maybe more. You don't have that much time. You don't have that much talent. Set up with your putter face square. Don't try to feel your release, because a lot of people misunderstand that. When they say feel the putter head release, they're thinking they got to flick it with their wrist after impact. Causes all kinds of problems, causes your stroke to be off. Don't do that. The other thing that Tiger was, I believe, talking about, I don't know, I'm not inside of his head, but if you'll notice professional golfers, something happens almost immediately after impact. They're taking their putter stroke and their hands stop here. About on a long stroke, their hands will stop here, just past their front hip or at their front pocket. And so on a bigger stroke, if my hands stop here, the putter head keeps going. That might be feeling a release, but you don't try to feel that. You just try to make a good stroke, keep the putter face square up the line. After impact, let the putter head go where it goes. Big thing there. You're not trying to feel that release. You are trying to stop it about here, but you don't want to be like, release the putter head. Release the putter head. You're doing that, you've got to time that perfectly, or you're pulling or snap hooking. That's the last thing you want on a putt. The thing that's really important on those is that you stay square and maintain. If you'll notice, when I'm set up to the ball with my elbows in, right on my rib cage, not all the way back on the shirt seam and not in here in my chest, but when I'm set up properly, there's an angle here that looks like a home plate in a baseball. And what you want to do is maintain that angle throughout your stroke. It's not a triangle unless you're one player on the PGA Tour who puts like this and maintains a triangle. It's more of a home plate shape. You maintain that shape through the stroke. Try stopping here at impact. Let the putter head go where it goes. If that feels like a release to you, that's great, but don't be thinking about a release and trying to release it. Be thinking about smooth stroke and the target. Now let's talk about the fourth myth, and this one's going to make some of you angry and you're going to disagree with me, but it's okay. I'm right. Everybody says you need to accelerate through the ball. Accelerate through the ball. No, you need to accelerate to the ball. There's a big difference here, and let me explain to you what I mean. So if you're accelerating through the ball, then my putter is going faster after him. It's going the fastest after impact if I'm accelerating through it. That's not what I want. Number one, accuracy gets off because the further I accelerate out here, the further my body's moving, my home plate shape is breaking down, and I'm twisting offline. I don't want to accelerate through the ball. I want to accelerate to the ball, which is why we talk a lot on this channel about a rhythm, a timing, and a tempo to your stroke. And there certainly should be acceleration to the ball, but not through it. The difference, here's what that looks like. If you're accelerating through the ball, and a lot of people have the problem of decelerating. They get too big of a backstroke and and then they're like, oh no. I'll kind of illustrate that again. Big backstroke and then decelerate. That's terrible. You don't want to do that. So people overcompensate, oh, I'm going to accelerate through the ball. And that's not a way to putt. That creates all kinds of problems. And even if they're a little smoother, they're like, accelerate through it. That's not what you want. You want to accelerate to the ball. Look how much smoother that looks if I do that. Accelerate to the ball. And you can see the putter head's moving fastest at impact, and it stops. My hands stop here. The putter head goes forward to that. But notice how the putter head's still square to my target line. Couple of things, because this myth is so important. Talk about a couple of things that you can do to help you resolve issues with these last two. The first one is you want to keep your balance and make sure that you're accelerating to it, but not over accelerating, not breaking down, flipping your wrist. Set up to a putt and then lift 1 foot off the ground and stroke the putt with 1 foot. Wow. We'll do it again from this angle. I said wow because it rolled right up and hit the camera tripod. That was just perfect. So set up to the putt. Then just for balance, I wanted to keep my body balanced and make a smooth stroke. Practice that a little bit on 1 foot. It'll help you get a feel for how much you wobble and weave, and you don't want to do that. You want to be stable. Most important thing is stability in here, because if this moves, everything else moves, and you beat the ball in the dirt, sideways, it just doesn't work. And a tiny little bit there makes a big difference in where that ball rolls. So you want to do that. And then the other drill is a drill with 2 tees, and we'll show you that now. So what I'm doing here is just firm enough to move the ball and feel I'm not releasing the putter. I'm not accelerating through impact. I'm accelerating to the ball, keeping the face square. And it gives me a feel of how firm to hit putts. By the way, you want to keep the putter face square. If you hit both of those tees at the same exact time, you're doing that. Okay. If you hit one tee or the other one first, then you're missing it. Now, one of the things you want to be careful of if you're doing this drill with the 2 tees, where you're getting a feel for the stroke and accelerating to the ball, is you want to be careful to make sure that you're making a smooth stroke and not punching it. You're not trying to punch it through those tees. You're trying to make a smooth stroke and accelerate it to them. If you'll work on these things that we talked about this video instead of the myths that are related to them, you'll find you'll make a lot more putts. Then you can work on something like speed or distance control, or reading the greens, or the good information that's coming up in this video. And in the meantime, you know the other drill. Like, subscribe, comment, share, and here's to you making more putts.